I met Sumeriyaman, Ramses II in Abu Simbel in Egypt, in Africa. I have to say that now because a lot of people think Egypt is in the Middle East. I remember as I came to the end of our tour that year, the ancestors spoke to me and said, go back and tell them. Even if they don't want to hear what you got to say, go back and tell them that we are not dead, we are alive, and we are well. And brothers and sisters, I tell you, man, it's like once you acknowledge the ancestors and their reality, it helps you to have a different energy, helps you to have another power level in your life because you're remembering from whom you came. You see, that's what they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know, you take people like Arnold Toynbee and other Eurocentric historiographers who want you to believe that Africans have not made any significant contribution to civilization. They'll tell you that we didn't really do anything, and they want you to think that civilization began with the Greeks and all that sick, twisted mentality. But once you understand that it really comes from us, and look at somebody and say, you're not a descendant of Africa, you are an ascendant of Africa. See, descend means to go down. See, when we start thinking up, then we'll start living up. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Okay, and we come from an awesome people, and it's a little discouraging when you think about how awesome our people were and you look around and see what we're doing today. Don't get me wrong, I love our ancient ancestors and their accomplishments, their life, their deeds, their legacy, their contributions. That's why I wrote the oath to the ancestors that we say here, and everywhere else around the diaspora people are beginning to say it. But I am not disillusioned with the concept or the truth of the matter that we were great at one time. Did y'all hear what I just said? We were great at one time. And it's an exercise in futility for us to keep thinking about how great we were and doing nothing with it now. So we got to come out of the jails. We got to come out of the prisons. We got to come off the street corners. We got to come out of the crack houses. It's deep because you got a lot of folk in the situations I just explained can tell you all about ancient Egypt. But how is it affecting their life right now? It's not doing anything. So we got to make it real now. But let her know Africans can't be atheists. But I understand what she's saying. See, in other words, once you have been disillusioned by religion, people readily claim the title of being an atheist. Everybody repeat after me. An atheist is a person who does not believe or trust in the existence of God or the Almighty. Africans can't be atheists. It's not in our DNA. Okay, so really what's happening here is in her transition, she's still seeing Jesus as God. You follow what I'm saying? And the African story is that God is. Jesus is not. Did that make sense? Let me finish what she wrote here. My transitioning from Christianity began with research on the origin of Christianity in 2010 because I wanted to prove the validity of a historical Jesus as being the true Savior of mankind who was resurrected from the dead. Instead, I found evidence that disproves the existence of Jesus as a Jewish historical figure. Let me start by saying that there could never have been a Jewish man named Jesus in the first century. The term Jew did not even originate until the 18th century. She did her homework. The letter J was never part of the Hebrew or Aramaic alphabet. The term Jew was originally used to denote the term Judean in earlier versions of the Bible. Judean was the official term in earlier versions of the Bible before it was replaced with the term Jew, which was first seen in the New Testament King James Version in the 18th century. A Judean, and notice how I'm saying that, a Judean, because there was no J, was a resident of the ancient occupied territory by the Romans known as Judea. The Roman province Judea comes from the Greek Iudaia. The letter J is an English letter acquired from the French. I love it when people go do their homework. And is a derivative of the Latin languages. All so-called historical accounts outside the Bible of the 1st and 2nd centuries containing the name Jesus in reference to him being the Jewish Savior Messiah are historical forgeries. Christianity was indeed invented by Romans in the 1st century AD. The account given by Flavius Josephus, a Jewish Roman historian concerning Jesus, is nothing more than a sophisticated forgery, because Josephus was a pen name for a man named Arius Calpurnius Piso. I love it. A Roman aristocrat who, according to Arthur Abelard Reuchlin, had written the 4 Gospels, the Pauline writings, and the book of the Revelation, along with other members of his family. Everybody say the Piso Papers. Piso Papers. I don't know how many of you guys ever heard of that before. I've talked to you about it several years ago. Right? And the Piso family are the people who wrote the New Testament. Don't take my word. I know y'all messed up out there listening to this, but hey, I just got to give it to you like it is, okay? You know, and I'm going to deal with this a little bit in my message, how we believe stuff that we have not even stopped to validate. So do the homework. Google it. The Roman Piso family. Google it. And get ready, though. I'm going to tell you now, hold on to your girdle, hold on to your belt buckle, and hold on to your socks. Because it's deep. Because when I read about the Piso Papers, even though I had come into the awareness of the truth of the non-existence of a fabricated person called Jesus, it still hurt when I read it. She goes on to say here that furthermore, Josephus would not be the correct spelling of his name by the Romans during the 1st century, because J is an English alphabet. Josephus would have possibly been Yusuf, and the English name Jesus would have possibly been spelled by the Romans as Jesus, also from the Greek Jesus or Zeus. In other words, Jesus is a continued version of Zeus, who according to Greek mythology was the father of gods and men and ruled the Olympians on Mount Olympus. Zeus was also known as the god of sky and thunder. Nut was the goddess of the sky according to ancient Egyptian creations. There are parallels of gods and goddesses within all major religions systems, which makes the Jesus figure the latest version of the sky deities worshipped in the ancient world. This girl did her homework. She says there was no mention by credible ancient scholars, historians, regarding a Jewish Messiah who performed miracles and raised the dead during the 1st century, except those who forged stories to advance their own agendas, which is what Arius Piso and his family did. Oh my goodness. The Jewish Savior God, and I'm skipping some paragraphs here because it's very long. The Jewish Savior God is also a continuation of the worship of Serapis, a Greco-Egyptian deity invented by the Greek ruler Ptolemy in the 3rd century BCE. There are historical references about Christians being regarded as worshipers of Serapis. In the 1st and 2nd centuries, this was in the early history of Christianity. Before I read any further, everybody write this down. Agora. Write that down, please. Agora. How many of you guys have Netflix? Good. If you have Netflix, when you get home, I want you to search the movie Agora. Okay? Those of you who don't have Netflix, you need to get it. And get rid of your cable. It'll save you a lot of money. I ain't trying to tell you how to run your house, but some of y'all paying over $100 a month for junk on television. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay, if you have the internet, you can get the news on the internet. Got me? Okay, I got rid of my cable and got Netflix, and I haven't missed a heartbeat. I go watch the movies when I get ready, and that's it. I don't have to worry about a cable bill. And guess what, y'all? Netflix is how much a month? $9 a month. Ain't that better than a cable bill? She goes on to talk about, and the reason why I'm telling you to do this is because when you see the movie Agora actually, it talks about the Christian invasion of Egypt in the 4th century. And it actually shows you how the Christian church came in and destroyed the library in Alexandria. I mean, go watch the movie. Go get it and watch it. If you don't have it, get it on DVD and watch it. How many of y'all remember me telling you about a sister by the name of, in my message I call it Hypatia, or it's also pronounced Hypatia. Anybody remember that? Talking about I taught this years ago. Hypatia was killed by them, dragged through the streets until her skin was ripped from her flesh, her bones. You know, it shows you how Hypatia, being the great philosopher there in the Library of Alexandria, and the classes that she taught, it shows you all that. But what's deep is there's this massive structure of Serapis in the opening of the movie. I said, ain't this a mess? The only thing wrong with the movie is it's white folk. So it's depicting, making you think that these ancient Egyptians were white, when in reality they were black. This sister goes on to say, even the deity Serapis is a continuation of earlier deities, including the worship of Horus or Heru of Egypt, the firstborn son of Asar and Aset. The biblical Jesus is not even a historical figure. And yet millions of people continue to pledge their allegiance to a mythical and non-historical figure. Therefore, Christianity cannot be regarded as an authentic religious system when it is based upon ancient mythology and forgeries. I appreciate the sister taking the time to go do her homework and come to her own conclusion. It's hard to give up the lie when all you know is the lie. Y'all hear what I'm saying? But she did it, and I applaud her for that. There's an awakening taking place, and that leads to my message for today. In fact, everybody say this after me. It's time to wake up now. It's time to wake up now. Now, I kind of battled between two subjects. So I'm going to make the other like a subtopic. The topic of today's message is it's time to wake up now, but the subtopic would be, so what must I do to be saved? There are so many of our people who are transitioning, and they want to know. People are starting to email me and ask for DVDs and CDs on how to help them through this process. I'm so glad to hear that, because an awakening is taking place. You see, brothers and sisters, for centuries, the minds of our people have been shackled by the chains of Euro-Gentile Greco-Roman doctrines placed on us by religious leaders. Now, what is the description that I just gave? Euro-Gentile, Greco-Roman. Why do I give such a description? To help you understand that, first of all, Gentiles are Europeans. That's the first thing you got to get straight in your head. Black people, Africans watching me right now, stop calling yourself Gentiles. You are not a Gentile. White folk are Gentiles. So why we call ourselves Gentiles? Because white folk taught us. Y'all grabbing what I'm saying? You see, when they kidnapped us and brought us over here, they forced their belief system on us.